Let's say that this bag of popcorn represents standard box office success in a movie theater. Now, pre-pandemic, this looks pretty good. But after the pandemic, and with streaming services taking over, this is about all that's left. The Student Entertainment Board, or SCB as they like to call it, has promotional events with posters around campus, including places like these stairwells, television screens throughout the Cub, and social media platforms such as this. While a university student-run newspaper is something that is quite common, while the front page may have something seasonal and fun on the front of it, once you keep reading, it is not always the case. And if you might think, well, Pullman, Washington has such horrible hours, let's head on over to Moscow, Idaho, where there's no problems whatsoever. That is not the case, considering that places like Wendy's in Moscow close at 8 p.m., the same time as most places in Pullman, Washington. Indoor gyms being available is quite essential, considering weather like this for outdoor activities will be in short supply come the winter season. The sound of a busy day in Pullman, Washington is nothing new to the residents, but what is new is the sudden change of hours that restaurants, coffee shops, and some bars went through during the work shortage that took place this past year. A coffee shop like Manny's, along with many others, has had to cut back on their hours, leaving them to close at 8 p.m. every day, including Saturday. The only locations in town that are open late currently are bars. Rico's Pub has been owned and operated for many years, promoting fun events for locals and tourists each season. I spoke with the owner of Rico's Pub, Tawny Johnson, to get her take on what she hopes to see from opposing businesses in town.
So I'm hoping that next semester, all the bars downtown will be able to be open late again. Because I think we will be able to, we'll be staffed. But if the other ones don't, then, people like to have options when they go out. They like, especially when they come downtown, they like to be able to bar hop. So hopefully the other bars will be able to stay open late too. Because I think it all hinges on one another. I think we all have to be open together to get the bulk of people down here to make it worthwhile to stay open.
And if you might think, well, Pullman, Washington has such horrible hours, let's head on over to Moscow, Idaho, where there's no problems whatsoever. That is not the case, considering that places like Wendy's in Moscow close at 8 p.m., the same time as most places in Pullman, Washington. Reporting from Pullman, Washington, this is Connor McAvoy, Murrow News 8. The Washington State University School of Music is making its way back to live performances. From graduation recitals to orchestra and jazz concerts, the feeling of promoting live music in a safe and healthy way is what music staff and students have been long awaiting for since the start of the coronavirus pandemic. I spoke with Dr. Dan Pham, the Wazoo Orchestra conductor, to get his thoughts on how the School of Music is handling performing in person.
There have been numerous, as far as music is concerned, there have been numerous scientific studies as far as what constitutes as safe for which instruments, what protective measures we actually use. And, first and foremost, WC Environmental Services here and our faculty here, their ear is very close to the ground.
I spoke with Cougar Marching Band member Katie Moon to get her take on how things have changed since the pandemic put a stop to performing music with other students.
After being online, there's a couple of different things. One is we're dealing with basically 2 freshman classes who haven't marched on the field before. And so there's this huge learning curve and trying to get everybody up to where we normally are, in our standards wise of our skill levels. And then the other thing is we have a lot clearer of an idea of the privilege we actually have of being able to be together and play in person, and just how easily it can actually be taken away from us. So we're all just more grateful to be there.
With the availability of practice rooms such as this, it is clear that the collaboration of musical students is well underway. Reporting from Pullman, Washington, this is Connor McAvoy, Murrow News 8.